me pull up my thingy. Man, I've been...
No. We're not that kind of podcast.
Not that kind of...
Don't pull up your thingy.
Oh, okay.
And we have the introduction.
On this month's episode of WromComms, we have...
Has sim racing reached its limits? Have we plateaued?
Are Pimax paying for reviews?
Am I going to actually try iRacing? Is now the time? Let's get into it. You are listening to WromComms, the podcast sharing the joy of sim racing and motorsports made by the WromWrom team. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Cody, and I will be the host for the video today. And as the
that
host of the video
sounds so
today,
much better coming out of your mouth.
What? What?
That intro sounds so much better coming out of your mouth than it does mine or Serta's.
Oh. Well, okay. Maybe I.
You just
maybe
have.
I do.
It's just the perfect accent for it.
That's all that American propaganda, that
Absolutely.
decades of American media. You're
what
like,
do you
ooh,
have
he's got an
against my
American voice for it.
accent?
I don't know, old boy. I have nothing against your accent.
All right, Churchill.
Starting off strong.
Yes. Speaking of starting off strong, I want to start off. I want to talk about Le Mans Ultimate. It's a quick topic, but they're getting driver swaps on June 10th. And my question for Ike was going to be, is this going to make Ike try out LMU? But I have heard that maybe you have.
So I went back on what I said. The original release date for the expansion was going to be all the extra content that made Le Mans, as far as I'm concerned, feature complete as it should have been when it was first released. Was May 10th, wasn't it? Or something like that?
No.
It was
They
originally
never,
at
they
some
never
point in May.
published, and now they're saying it's June 10th.
Okay, so
okay.
Originally it was going to be sometime in May, and one of the communities that I'm in, organised a championship, basically in line with that release, so that the Lambo, the Lexus would be able to be driven in the championship as well. That was the entire point, and I signed up on the premise of it being released, and we knew what the cars were going to be like, we knew how the driver swaps were going to work, etc, etc, etc. May came and went, and I had this entry signed up, and I got to about 3 days before the championship started. They announced that they were delaying the release, and I had to make a decision. Either I would withdraw from the event, which would have been the first championship that I drove this calendar year, or I just buy the game hoping that MSG know what they're doing and do things properly as far as the content was concerned. We've since had some things occur. I'm obviously part of a race team that have been working with MSG over the past month, so that confidence was a lot more founded. I ended up just buying the buying LMU in its vanilla state as it was to compete in this championship. My God, it's still the best. Like, it's still the best sim, bar none. The only thing that is bad, quote unquote, about it now is the way that they have the servers hosted, and that you can't do your own dedicated servers like you could in R-Factor 2. But everything
That's
around
prone to
it,
change, by the way. At some point in the future, not disclosed.
Let's see, because as far as I know, again, because we've been helping MSG with their update with the driver swaps and that sort of thing. Or we've been reading, put it that way. Trying to help them get to grips with it. They the information that I have found is that it's a long-term plan, but it's not a concrete plan, and they don't know how they're going to implement it. As far as I know, the actual server hosting part is still fairly RF2, which means that you've got package installers and things like that that become an issue that comes from rFactor 2. That's the reason why rFactor 2 wasn't very popular as far as the servers were concerned, is because the theory of it was really good, the practical of it was an absolute headache. And that's where a lot of the work has gone, trying to get the liveries working. That's the biggest thing in this update, believe it or not.
Although the livery system for me is far too complicated. The templates are Photoshop PSDs. You save them as Targa, and then they get transformed into whatever on the back end. And you're like, there is already a standard for liveries and for graphics in mods, which is not Photoshop, but I'm okay with them delivering the templates in Photoshop because it's the de facto standard. So there is already a way to save liveries that is used around most of the sims. But now that you go and complicate it, save it as Targa, and then our back end translates it. Do you know about the technicalities of that? Because from my point of view, there is no technical reason to do that.
So the reason why is because it's TGA is a scalable format, basically.
Sure.
It's similar to
SVG.
Inkscape. XTG, that was the one, yeah. It's similar to SVG. So it's a lot easier for them to scale on the background, on their back end. And what you'll probably find is that there isn't actually any scaling going on until you get larger grid sizes, at which point it's unlimited with what I can say because there was an NDA signed. But from the public materials...
For the LODs or what?
Yes, for the... No. So the... there was only ever one file. But at least in rFactor 2, if you had your graphics quality set low enough, the car would not show the graphics until it was right up close.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest that that the LOD is being dynamically generated as you join the server. That is a speculation of all speculations. Mm-hmm. But if it's saved in Targa format, it is something that GIMP can handle. So it's not as though you're having to pay for it. It doesn't change the workflow.
Photoshop and SVGs. So
yes, but I assume that there is a reason, something along the lines of file format and size and trade-off of quality, because some of the deliveries
then why translate them in the backend? That's what I don't understand.
I don't think there's a translation being done in the backend. I think what they're calling a translation. Yeah, I think what they're calling a translation is zipping them up into little archives so that it's easier for people to send. But that said, how's that going to function with dedicated servers, if they ever come? It's
same way. I mean, you have things like that also in rFactor 2, where you upload the whole shebang of the liveries, and then they get
absolutely, yeah,
transported to all the others. So it's not rocket science. It's been done before. There is not a reason why it should not work for private for private servers. And they also say in their presentation video, in the trailer for the drop they're going to do on the 10th, they say that at some point this is going to be available also for private servers. What they do not say is if the teams and driver swaps are going to be available for servers.
Right, okay. So I can give stuff that has come off their Discord that is not part of the privacy stuff. This is getting very complicated already. So stuff that's come
Welcome
off
to my
off
world.
the Discord. Oh, yeah. The thing is as well, I just want to talk about it as well because it's so cool to see a feature complete LMU, and God, the driving is just so good, and I have missed it so much. The one thing that I'll say is for those, if you are part of our Discord, you would have seen some images that would give you a clue as to what Serta and I have been up to. No more spoilers beyond that, but going from that activity back to LMU was, to all intents and purposes, a one-to-one transition. It didn't... I was using the same driving techniques, whereas in other sims you have to kind of adapt and update, and one of the things when we were on our away day, Serta, they said about using all of the track, and making sure you run out to the outskirts of the track and things like that. And then when you actually apply it, it's like, no, driving style is totally different. This was there is no translation. It is a one-to-one scale as far as my driving is concerned, which was really, really nice to come back to as well. But the teams are a tiered thing. The light version of race control, which is what everyone has access to, you can have a team with 10 drivers and 1 lineup, so it's rather heavy on the admin. You can only have 1 team event going on at a time and that sort of thing.
No, 6. The teams are on the light can only be comprised of 6 people.
Yes,
they
that's
don't
the
have
lineup.
to be all drivers.
No, that's the lineup. So it gets a bit, yeah. So a team is like we are a team. But if there you go. If Cody and I were taking part in one of the soon to come special events on race control, then we would create a lineup. The lineup or the driver pairing, the driver team, is a section underneath the overall team. So the light version of race control that everyone gets, you can have 10 people in a team. Up to 6 of those can be put into a car.
Okay.
But you can only have one car made up at a time.
Then the LMU video is not communicating well.
Hence why I'm repeating it now in a way that we can get some feedback and you understand. So, it's 10 people in the team, 6 drivers, up to 6 drivers in the car. You can only have 1 car. So treat lineups, as they call it in the video, as a car. When you get the first tier of Race Control Pro, that then becomes 100 members in a team and 10 cars. So you can have... And the other thing that is not explained in the video, which really frustrates me because it sounds like really bad value, is that only the team leader needs to have... and 1 livery on the light version of Race Control as well. You only get access to 1 livery. I have not had an answer anywhere about what the maximum amount of liveries is on the Race Control Pro version. That we'll have to wait and see for that. When you go to Race Control Pro, it's 100 members and 10 cars, and only the owner of the team needs to have Race Control Pro. Then you get all of the team members get the benefit of that Race Control sub.
So it did sound similar. They say something like that, but it's not as clear as you said it now. Maybe they should book you to write their scripts from now on.
I mean, if you want to go and tell them to that's fine. I don't mind. But yeah, as per the norm with Studio 397 titles, all of the templates will be released on June the 10th, and they will be downloaded as part of the update. So livery creators in our audience, again, join the Discord, let us know what you're creating, let us know how you find the process, and just join in. There's a load of livery discussion going on at the moment, and I'd absolutely adore the livery system for R Factor 2, and they are using the same basic system of paint and shader layers. So rather than so that's fantastic and brilliant and ace. We have yet to see what the online, how the online infrastructure works as far as the liveries are concerned. But I have a theory, what is entirely mine, that there may be space for someone such as an Awesome Sim Racing or somewhere where your liveries are hosted, to allow liveries to be manually downloaded for private servers, if that makes sense. Because obviously you create a custom car, that then it creates an addendum to the car file, which has an address to a folder similar to ACC, and in that folder there's a couple of settings and the 2 layers. That's all absolutely fine. The main issue is the distributing of those files to the other computers. And that's not going to be done in private servers at the moment. However, there is a possibility that if you force the files onto your hard drive and then pick the car, maybe, possibly, fingers crossed. And again, entirely speculation. I have no evidence for that outside of knowing somewhat how computers work. We've heard nothing from Studio 397 about that working, but if it does, then that is another way around it as well. There is also the other side as well. Deliveries are going to be checked by Studio 397 as well. As far as I'm aware, the early ones, they're going to do what they can to try and root out all of the not suitable for work and offensive and copyright infringing elements. They're also going to add, as I think was in the video, was in the update video, they're going to add an option in race control reporting. So if you see a livery that is offensive, then you can report that and get that livery banned. Obviously, if it's legitimate, it is still being dealt with by individuals at Studio 397 and MSG. That's how that it is being looked at by a person. It is not AI generated or anything silly like that. So keep your anime liveries suitable for work, ladies and gents.
At least if you're using the servers.
Hang on, that was 2 questions at once.
No, mine wasn't just a corollary. Like, if you're using the LMU servers, then keep them safe for work. But if you're using your own servers at some point, but yeah, Cody.
Yes.
But are you enjoying LMU?
It's so good. It's so. Oh my god. There's still the G-Motor ISI engine peculiarities, which are familiar from R Factor 2. There is still characteristics, let's say. That's the best way of putting it. But, oh my goodness, it's so nice.
Among those peculiarities, today I needed 2 hours to record 10 minutes of LMU because the system froze twice and it crashed once. So, yeah.
Oh boy, that's a new one on me.
I was going to say, would you like me to just record stuff from my PC? Because it works fine. No, that's the other thing. I shall put this on a platform where it's going to be listened to and heard. If your PC has 16 gig of RAM, this isn't the 1980s anymore, it's more than 16 meg, that's for sure, you might need to upgrade. Up until now, I have been running on an AMD R7 1700 and 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's been absolutely fine, not a problem. Le Mans, little bit demanding, to the point where it caused my car to desync.
But is it the RAM? Is it the RAM on the system, or is it the RAM of the GPU?
RAM of the GPU is fine.
Okay.
It's a 3080 Ti or a 3080, one of the two. So I have enough RAM there. It is I update so I had the issue at Le Mans. I had a R7 5700X3D and 16 gig of RAM that I could just push at it, and I have since gone back to the track with that amount of cars, and whether it was CPU or RAM, I don't know, but it was, yeah. The RAM is the easy one, so if you're finding that you're having issues, look at the RAM first, because the thing, what I saw with only Discord, SimHub, and LMU open was 22 gigabytes of used RAM. So it's a little bit of a memory whore, but that's expected. They're still using ISI, which is absolute overkill for the amount of physics that you get. 3 kilohertz is absolute overkill, and unnecessarily, in very large air quotes, taxes the CPU and the RAM because of all the calculations going on. But it's so good. And apparently, I don't know this. This is again a little bit of speculation. I have heard, it has been said in the Discord that there are new LMH tires coming as well as a refresh to the GT3 tires.
Yeah, there's new LMH tires coming in real life too, so that checks out.
Oh, those tires are so cool, aren't they?
They look awesome. Yeah.
In the middle of the season or for the next season?
Next season.
I think it's next season. Yeah.
So for next season, because they've done away with the tire warmers, and the warm up is really, really challenging. Now, what I want to know about those tires is when they're hot, do the seams all close up? Are there expansion gaps to allow the tires to warm up quicker and then stay at the right temperature?
I was thinking they were just wets that they were showing off.
Oh yeah, no. They're slick. They are the dry tires.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right,
The grooves are the wrong shape and the wrong size to be able to actually get rid of any water. That is pure. So, my theory, what is mine, and this is based on my understanding of physics, is that the gaps are to create the wobbliness or the flex in the tire that gets it to warm up. But then when they get to their optimum temperature, the seams all close up, so you are left with a fully slick tire that doesn't get any hotter.
Interesting.
It's so interesting. A tire technology is so fascinating nowadays. Just everything about, yeah.
I know that they don't have like the beads that go all the way to the edge, but because they are grooved, they'll probably be better on wet or I'll say intermediate conditions than usual.
Absolutely.
And so if that cools down, like driving over the water cools down the tires, and then it makes those gaps bigger, that might mean that people can drive for longer in like intermediate wet conditions on dry tires.
It's going to totally change the strategy of the WEC. It is. I am so looking forward to it. Yeah. Which actually brings us on to a subject of certers. Because what I was about to say was I can't wait for 2026. We've got new Formula 1 regulations, we've got new WEC tires, we have LMU coming on strong, we've got Cody's subject coming up, we have the new NASCAR game coming, which
we have Project Motor Racing.
We have Project Motor Racing. So to answer Serta's question, no, but
and speaking of which, Serta, what is your question?
So
let's talk about
the numbers. I come to that question because
say the question. Let us say the question. I'll ask the question. Have we plateaued, Serta?
Yeah, have we reached the ceiling? Thing is, as you know, every month we publish the usage numbers of the sims and the total usage numbers and so on. And since kind of the beginning of this year, after very strong numbers in December, the highest number there's been of overall sim racers, They've kept all around kinda 32,000. I think it was 33, 32, 32, 32, something like that. 32 and change. And also with regards to the usage of the different sims, there has not been a big change. There has been one change on LMU since something like February. Let me check. So the highest number for LMU until now, was in April. Or no, well, the highest number was when they started, and since then they've dropped immensely. And then the highest number was now last month. But other than that, the other sims have reached a certain number, and they keep getting a little bit over that, a little bit under that, but not moving extraordinarily, as have the overall usage numbers, the amount of daily average users. We're talking here daily average users. So it's not as if our hobby is dying, because 32,000 daily sim racers, I think that's a good number in any case. But is it the zenith? Is it the apex? Is it the top of the number? Or is it gonna go up when temperatures get cold again in the northern hemisphere?
Yeah, I think that's you've hit the nail on the head there. I think that there may well be new drivers coming in preparation for, say, the summer holidays and that sort of thing, but at the same time, there's going to be a drop-off of the older, more reliable sim racers as they go off on their summer holidays. I think that plateau is actually incredibly healthy, and that we're not seeing the numbers drop off like I think we saw last summer.
No. No.
Did they not?
Let me check.
Summer before last, I think. It was after COVID was easing off. We did see a drop in those numbers.
Dropped, yeah.
Yep.
I thought that could be 2023. Has it really been 2 years since that drop off?
I think so. I think so,
God. And I do believe that we've recovered to that number as well.
Thing is, the highest before that was on December 24. So December, of course, cold month is one that is below. And let me make it clear: the numbers that we are seeing at the moment, and I'm turning to this monitor because that's where I have the numbers. The numbers that we are seeing at the moment are still about 3,000 more daily average users than last year. So it's not like, oh my God, we are declining. It's that something that had not happened before is happening now. For the last 4-5 months, the numbers have kept the same. Kinda same-ish.
So it could be that the stratospheric growth that we've seen over the past few years is starting to level out into what you could consider the more normal growth.
Yeah, it's a sustainable level, I think. Yeah. We had the big pandemic bump, which was awesome, and we're like, in terms of numbers, we're higher than we were before the pandemic, right? And so we saw a big spike, right? And that a bunch of people staying home, buying sim equipment, and then some people stayed with it, some people didn't stay with it, so it came down. But a lot of those people who tried it out did stay with it. I suppose I would, although I don't think the pandemic made me do sim racing. I was still involved before then, but I joined those ranks during 2020. So that checks out.
And I mean, let me make this clear. I'm taking December 21 as a frame, just because it's December 20. Sorry, and there we had a bit over 10,000 daily users. Now we are a bit over 32,000. So it's 22,000 more. So it's, as I said, we're not declining. we have reached a level where the number keeps steady, but it's much higher than it was even during the pandemic.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
another thing, other than the numbers, and numbers normally don't lie if you interpret them the right way. One thing that I've been considering, yeah, I know, that's why I use
that we
those
have to
words.
stipulate that now. Good grief.
Another thing is, we've been doing news for the last, what is it, 4 years, something like that. I get the feeling that I have done much shorter news in this past half year, since the beginning of the year, than I've done before. Like, I don't have that much to tell in the news. There are not so many news, or if they are, like the news last Sunday, they like, I think last Sunday was the longest short news segment that I've ever done, because I had something like 6-7 different news there. So I get the feeling that there is not that much going on. Now, is it a plateau? Is it just that the whole community is breathing in and it's going to breathe out soon, and there's the next thing coming? I don't know. It's in line with what you were saying 2 years ago when we started the podcast, that these things run in 5 to 6 year pendulum swings, and now we are on the other side.
And the thing is, as well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because
I still consider 32,000 a very healthy number.
Well, no, I was thinking of having a quieter time allows everybody to sit down, chill out, and generally just get better, get accustomed, get comfortable. All of those words apply to your specific chosen sim and style of sim racing. Obviously, we've discussed in the past how each of us uses sim racing differently.
Yes, I use mine as a rolling museum.
Yes,
a digital museum I can drive in ways.
Yeah, but there's been so much.
Why you're going Google over Project Motor Racing?
To be fair,
we'll get there.
I don't know anyone that's not. The only people that aren't going Gugu over Project Motor Racing are the people who are like, I will never buy another iron. Speaking to you too much, Serta. Are the people who are going, I will never buy another Ian Bell game ever again. It's like, that's not. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. But yeah, this it's not a pause. It's a necessary lull to be able to help us appreciate the crescendos of just how busy and how booming this industry has been over the past 5 years. It has, if you went back to 2019, 2018 and said, by the way, 32,000 people are going to be driving, and that's not including iRacing.
Correct. We don't have independent numbers for iRacing.
So the biggest sim, or the most popular sim, allegedly. So let's assume that there is another 30,000 on top of those 30,000 that we're seeing. No.
Daily users. Like I'm basing this on not on independent numbers, but on numbers that I've been getting here and there. So that's why I never publish those.
Yeah,
but daily users of iRacing are about 9,000 to 10,000, not 30,000.
Right. Okay, so it's still it's still a significant chunk on top of the numbers that we already have.
I think they've all-time peaked at like 30,000.
Okay, yeah,
but not daily users.
No, but not average
users users that are in the system, and as far as I know, not even paying users, but users that they have in the system.
Huh. Okay, so people with lapsed subs. Fine. Okay, but even then, the point is that the amount of people who are sim racing. If you went back to 2018 and said, yeah, there's 7-8 viable sims, and there's 40,000 roughly. Let's be a little bit conservative with the numbers, around 40,000 average daily sim races. Any of the companies that now exist would have bitten your arm off for that kind of audience. And obviously the YouTube sphere, as far as sim racing is concerned as well, has just exploded. And again, thank you to our community members. You are absolutely part of that. And we love you very much, and keep being positive, because oh my goodness, we need it in the world. But this place in gaming is so positive, and there's so many, and even if it does plateau here, are either of you complaining?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I would prefer if sim racing would be a million user a day thing, but on the other hand, maybe then we would get the negativity and the bile that comes in other gaming niches. So
we've seen it in Formula One over the past few years, the impact that popularity can have. And I'm not going to say anything specific, but
I know what you mean.
I don't remember there ever being any issues with harassment at pre-2000. When did Liberty take over? That was...
Let's not make societal issues with specific companies and all that. So
no,
it's
they have been very successful in making F1 popular and profitable for the people involved. Put it that way. But there is a level of
bullshittery,
negativity, yes, that you have to kind of accept comes along with that popularity. You either make money or you have a really wholesome community. We're at a really good place at the moment where most of the sim racing community is extremely positive and extremely well educated on their chosen hobby. The amount of times that you come across people who are absolutely entirely wrong on how cars and physics and racing and things like that work is very small. It's extremely small, and it's a really nice that we are where we are. With that said, as you rightly say, Serta, if we could keep that lovely community feeling that we've got at the moment and have that be at 1 million concurrent average daily users, cool, let's go. But entry to this hobby is on the understanding that you have to drive responsibly. Let's stop it with the Monza Turn 1 torpedoes, guys and girls.
Although that said, just on that note of that, I think that at the level that we're at, with the creator economy that we have in sim racing, I think that compared to some other niches, we have a very wholesome community.
100%
for sim racing. I cannot think of any major creator feuds between influencers in the sim racing community.
We have to start that. We really, so let's see we can.
Pimax are paying for reviews. Let's go.
So okay, let me talk to Laurence and let's start a beef against Laurence and he against us.
I love that because Laurence couldn't be a better dude. He's amazing.
Laurence, we hate that guy.
And I love also the idea of yes, it is time for us to fight now. that's the worst that we can conceptualize.
There's nothing more racing, is there?
Isn't it
right?
what the WWE is based on?
I mean,
no,
that's a whole
no.
performance.
It's what WEC is based on. You took me out. Good game. Oh, good grief.
Oh man, that's funny.
That's
yeah, no, it's we're in a good spot, in terms of the creator world. I think that the even among the big guys, if they're fighting, they're doing a really good job of hiding it because as far as I'm aware, everyone's kind of buddy with each other. So
I
that's
mean,
good.
without naming names, we can say that somebody who we are trying to have in Chicago on the podcast just was ecstatic that we had contacted them, and we are very happy about that. So yeah, absolutely.
When you were like without naming names, I was like, oh no.
Oh, well, here comes the negativity. No, the I had a thought there for a second, and then it went.
That one thought the month that you have. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm still driving back from Wales. It's lagging behind a bit. As you say, well, that was the point I was going to make. Is I don't think the community would stand for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't think that even if there was a feud going on between two creators, the communities wouldn't respond positively to it. It would not be received how other communities do, because the very nature, as we've literally just said, the very nature of racing is that you fight as hard as you can, and you have to be able to shake hands at the end of it.
You haven't been very much on Reddit, have you?
Oh, I'm on Sim Racing Stewards. Those guys are the exception. It's Reddit. They're great. There are some interesting opinions there, and I love hearing those opinions, even if they are wrong.
Yeah. I was gonna say that if you weren't. Okay, so speaking of drama, I have a topic introduction and then a discussion question. Wreckfest 2 gets a new update. So this new update is cool. There's some new cars, a BMW lookalike, and then the existing cars got like actual names instead of just like American car,
Nice.
right? Realistic gearbox damage comes to Wreckfest 2, which is cool. If you're shifting and you miss shift, you can actually damage the clutch. That's good. A lot of much more hardcore sims don't even do that. So like I'm so glad that they've added that. That's good. Various performance improvements to the performance of the sim and of the cars,
I'll have to look back into that,
and
then.
that sort of thing. But I have a discussion question because they showed a roadmap. And
let's call it that. Let's be kind and call it that.
Yes, as you put it, ChatGPT could do a better one on like no information, and that's not saying much. If you were just like, hey, we want to say that we are going to have improvements to our game, ChatGPT, make me a roadmap, and they gave you a little thing that might as well be what's in there. I'm not saying that it's good, because it's not. And so, if that's what we know about the future, and they were basically like, the content of that was basically like, we're going to finish the game. We're going to add cool stuff you're going to like. And that was about as specific as it got. And so, my question is, right now, in year of our Lord 2025, if you haven't bought Wreckfest, and you haven't bought Wreckfest 2, why would you buy Wreckfest 2 over Wreckfest?
No reason.
Because graphics.
Yeah, and
because it's the newer game.
Yeah, and that's it. And so go Wreckfest. What I cannot understand is what the heck is taking them so long. Like I understand that Wreckfest, the first, took a long while in early access because they were still trying things. They were like, okay, so let us have the cars bent this way. Let us have the crashes be that way. Like they were their early access, and they said it very clearly, was based on tech demo. Like this is how it could work. Now, if you pay us for the early access, you're not getting the game. You are just part of the development, and you're going to see how this is moving along. perfectly fine. Even if I maybe wouldn't have paid for early access on Wreckfest 1, but no worries. Then they go and Wreckfest comes out and they put a lot of cars and a lot of tracks and whatever. Wreckfest 2 comes out and they either did a completely new game on a completely new code base, which would be stupid because the code base, at least the information that I have, was healthy.
Yep.
You need a little bit more, a little bit better graphics, which the GPUs nowadays can give you. So you up the ante on the graphics. Okay, you then put a little bit more physics in there. The physics of Wreckfest were good, but they could be better, sure, which is what they have done. Wreckfest 2 doesn't have the tracks that Wreckfest had still, and that cannot be that difficult. If they didn't kick out everyone who did tracks on Wreckfest, putting them up to par should not take the almost 3-4 months that it's now. The cars, sure, they bend now differently. They have more complicated damage physics, all that. Sure, that may take a little bit longer, no worries, but I keep thinking that they got rid of at least half of the people that made Wreckfest, and now a skeleton crew is doing Wreckfest 2 because it's taking them ages to do the most simple things, and it's very strange to me compared to Wreckfest, which took years and so on. No worries, but they were developing the game. It was not Wreckfest. Even in name for a long time, it was not Wreckfest. So so I would say go Wreckfest. Don't bother about Wreckfest 2 at the moment.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. 'Cause it's built on the original Wreckfest. It does have better, visual fidelity. It's got all that, but I still think, Wreckfest stands on its own. It's great, It's phenomenal. And it's
and by the
done.
way and by the way, the numbers, the usage numbers speak also a similar language, because we have 341 daily average on Wreckfest in May, against 176 on Wreckfest 2. So half of what the Wreckfest players are on Wreckfest 2, because if you compare both, you go for Wreckfest. You have more cars, more tracks, and the same fun.
And modding.
Yep. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep. I have been looking through the updates, and what I'm seeing is things that were solved in Wreckfest 1 are being worked on again in Wreckfest 2. Which, if the thing that's screaming to me is what Marcel said to us a few times in person, the benefits of a modular game system versus a monolithic game system. If there aren't modules to Wreckfest 2, and they are working on this, essentially the base code as they update, there's every possibility that the reason why this is happening, or why this is taking so long, blah blah blah, is because they are having to bug fix in the base game as they try and add features on top. Whereas if you took the LMU approach of keeping the existing base code and putting the graphics on top, which is what they did, it allows for obviously better multi-threading and things like that, but on top of that, the base game at least works. And that was the thing that I have always said about LMU, is that, yeah, it's R Factor 2.5, blah 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 blah, but at least it still works on release, with the exception of
not on release. A year after.
Yes, no, not on release. Yeah. A year after it
a year after the early access release. Now it works.
Yes.
Kinda.
But I'm also more than happy to accept that, because RF2, let's be kind, was not a finished product either.
On the other hand, no software is ever a finished product, because the thing that you learn almost on the first hour of computer sciences is no non-trivial piece of software is without errors.
Yes, but also Super Mario World was a complete game on release, and it all worked, and there were no bugs outside of the exploits that are very well documented at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a very modern.
It's a
idea.
very modern, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I also understand, especially as a designer, that like you can always keep perfecting things, and so at some point you have to call it good.
Yes,
or you'll never release anything. So I get that. I think that's kind of what Serta's speaking to more.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, feature creep is a problem.
Yeah, there's the Pareto principle of, hey, if you have 80% of what you wanted to reach, release it, because the other 20% are gonna take you as long as the 80% took you. So release it. Say these are known issues in the software, and as long as they are not critical or major, go and release the software, or you will never release the software.
And even if there are some major issues with it, once it's out in the wild, you have so much more access to data. That's why I think early access, when used properly, does actually have a hell of a lot of application. With as you say, the high level, complicated workloads that developers are having to work with now. It absolutely makes a lot of sense to be able to get someone with a GTX 1650 or a 1050 Ti and go like, okay, does it work? How many FPS are you getting? What are you maxing out on? Can we easily make that work, or is it too far beyond the remit of the scope of the project? Early access absolutely has its place. And I think that, to be entirely fair, it's being used in... Again, it comes back to the wholesomeness of the community. It is being used properly.
No, it's not.
We can... No?
Assetto Corsa Evo on early access was a catastrophe. Le Mans Ultimate on early access was a catastrophe. Yeah. Wreckfest 2 on early access is, not a catastrophe, but it's not good. So no, it's not been from the side of the developers, it's not being used the right way. At least not in sim racing.
But also, this is the thing that I find very difficult to... I wish that there was, as part of early access, especially on Steam, there was a stipulation that you had to put down what the game had been tested on. Right? Because
that could be a very long list, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, no, but before release. Right? So, if it's a long list, at least then, for example, if it's been tested on my CPU and my GPU with my amount of RAM, I've got at least a chance of it working well. But if all of the GPUs listed are NVIDIA, and I've got my AMD card, maybe I'm going to have more issues. And I do think that there is definitely a benefit to having that in place. I think that there is an argument to be made for making that, especially as part of the Steam Early Access. Sorry, Cody, I ever slightly talked over you.
You are just fine, because I have lost my train of thought.
Hey, that's two of us. Cersa's turn next.
To lose the train of thought? No.
No, never.
Well, it sounds like it might be a good opportunity to move on to a new topic.
We're all about drama.
Go ahead.
All about drama next, aren't we?
Yeah, sure. Oh, the Pimax stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. This is
I know
entertaining.
nothing about this,
It's
so
Okay.
you get to explain it to me,
Sure.
like I know nothing about it because I don't.
I'm being very careful also because I have contacted Pimax and they've explained their side of the thing. There was a user
Oh, okay.
on Reddit, on the Pimax Redditor, and a subreddit they are called. Sorry,
Yeah,
there
that's
was a on the Pimax subreddit who said, I have been contacted by Pimax. They are offering me money to produce content, positive content for Pimax. The stipulation is it has to be at least 70% positive. This has been confirmed by Pimax. But they have said this was a rogue employee who misunderstood the wishes of management. We had that stipulation only with 3 content creators, and no content was done based on that. It's not what Pimax stands for. It's not what we want our community to produce. We want to hear true reasons. Okay.
Yes.
I can say we are in contact with Pimax for a while, and they have not offered us anything. Maybe because we're too small, but maybe because they really don't do that. So from that side, I can say I have not had that experience with Pimax. But there has been, and Pimax have confirmed it, so more power to them for saying, hey, that happened. There have been offers made to content creators to make a quote 70% positive content for Pimax. And
so
we do know from our own experience,
creators.
Well, it was they were 5 were contacted, 3 got the arrangement or whatever. None of them did content. So no content was produced based on that. Exactly. Because maybe because the Redditor wrote it. As said, Pimax is saying that was somebody who misunderstood, who went the wrong way. This was not cleared with management, and this is not the way that we let content be produced. We know by our own experience that there are companies that have been in contact with us that were trying to make us say certain things, and we said, no way, no how.
And we said no.
And there are companies that have ghosted us, that are not contacting us, not offering us products because we have been not
honest.
100% kind. Yeah, because we've been honest and therefore not 100% kind to their product.
Yes. The reason why I was very interested in this subject is because has Pimax stated that publicly as well as to yourself?
Yes, there is a video. So there is a video. It's linked in the news from last Sunday. It's a video from Pimax where they say clearly, yes, this has happened. Yes, no, there was no content made. No, it was not cleared with management. So it's a clear statement. I have based my response from Pimax on the video, which was offered to me as their official response.
Perfect. So the reason why I wanted to ask that and get that first is companies, this is how you deal with this. This is exactly, in my opinion, as an average pleb, this is exactly how you deal with accusations like this. Yes, it happened. It was unfortunate. We've fixed it since then. And it shows such a level of credibility as far as Pimax's confidence in their own products and in their own business, that has genuinely, from the report, made me think a lot more positively of Pimax, to the point where I'm starting to look at their headsets. And I'm not interested in VR overly. I get very travel sick when I've used headsets so far. But obviously they create good stuff. This is extremely rare for a again, in very large air quotes, Chinese company to have this kind of attitude. And oh my goodness, we need more of it. This is a absolute picture perfect, play by play perfect response to a mistake, let's say.
On the other hand, let me make everyone aware that their response video to those allegations is coded in a lot of marketing bullshit. Like,
oh yeah,
you get what I said, you get the 30 seconds of what I said within, I think it's 3.5 minutes of marketing bullshit. We strive to be the best and blah 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 blah, and I start sneezing because I'm allergic to bullshit.
Yes. But again,
well,
that's capitalism, baby.
You have PR. You have PR company do PR things. I mean, you know.
Yeah,
PR
I can't.
division.
Again, I can't hold that against them. The fact of the matter is, they've come out and said, "We strive to be the best. We messed up." That's fine by me. You can put as much positive spin on it around it as you want. You just need to admit that you made the mistake. You didn't mean to. It's fine. We can move forwards, and there is an added level of trust there, as far as I'm concerned. But again, which was the reason why I wanted to bring it up. It's not a big subject. It's not a massive thing, but it's a positive example. Feeding into the positivity. It's a positive show this month, isn't it? But yeah, I just wanted to draw attention to it. If people had missed the news of it as well. But seeing a company respond to it in such a wholesome and honest way is unless either of you have anything to add.
No, this is good. This is good. I like the positive vibes. Continuing on the positive vibes,
you may end up being an iRacer.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay,
we'll get there. First.
Speaking, welcome to the positivity zone.
Yes.
Only nice things.
Recently, we had Jorge Anzaldo come and speak to us from Sim Gaming Expo, and we were asking him many a question about Sim Gaming Expo, and one of the things that we asked him about was exhibitors. And he was like, I'm really hoping that, these people that I'm talking to say yes, well, I think a lot of them did, because their exhibitor list has just absolutely exploded since we had that conversation.
And it will grow. It will grow further, but I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah.
I have to leave that to Jorge to say.
Yes, I'm sure. But yeah, confirmed on their website. Let me give you some highlights. This is a non-exhaustive list, but GSI, Gomez Sim Industries, Dallas, woo, yeah, locals. Huizenfeld will be there.
Ooh.
Simicube will be there. Simcraft, which makes motion stuff. SimLab will be there. That's a lot of the big names. GTR Simulators, they're, I believe, rig builders. They'll be there. PXN, we have opinions about them, but they will be there.
Well, we had opinions about them. That might be worth revisiting.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm very excited because I think PXN was they were first timers at a Sim Expo, the last time that we encountered them.
They may have learned.
Then they maybe have taken that and taken that back and changed things, or not, and we'll find out.
Yes.
But one way or another, they'll be interesting to go and see, and I will go and see. yeah, a number of other exhibitors. Alexander PCs and Corsair will be there, so some PC builders are coming.
Will Corsair be Fanatec?
No.
Corsair for
wait.
business will be there. So I think
take my no as it's not officially confirmed if Fanatec is gonna be there.
Yeah. Corsair for business is confirmed.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think I should have been more specific. Yeah.
No, that's fair.
So, yeah, I think that's the institution aimed PC building side of Corsair, or PC selling side of Corsair.
Yeah.
If you're a sim cafe and you want these sim lounges that have been popping up, there's actually one that opened recently at Dallas Karting Complex. I think that one's the nearest one to me, which is actually pretty damn far away. It's like 2 hours, but way over on the other side of Dallas. And I'm on the Fort Worth side of Dallas, which is already 45 minutes away from Dallas, which is in the DFW area. Yeah, anyways, so these things have been popping up. Those are businesses needing a bunch of PCs, and so Corsair for Business probably is aiming more at that.
Yeah.
Special guests are friendly Laurence Dusoswa, who we talked about earlier on the show. He'll be there. Matt Malone will be there. SimPit will be there. Sim Racing Den. Let's see, Funky T-Bone, 499 Racing.
Sim Racing 604.
Nice.
Yes,
cool.
One of the guys who got me into sim racing way back in the day on YouTube.
WromWrom will be there.
WromWrom will be there.
I'm getting there. Sarah Nachi will be there. I recently found her. She did some cool rig build stuff that when I was building my rig, I looked at some of the stuff that she was doing because she built track racer stuff. So I know her from that. A whole bunch of other creators. And then at the very bottom of the list, last but certainly not least, sort of had to steal my thunder, WromWrom will be there in the form of me. I'm going to be there. So if you are going, feel free to, if I'm not filming something, please don't come if I'm filming something, but please feel free to come up and say hi. I know you from the WromWrom channel. And
he's the tall blonde one, by the way. He's very tall.
If this is blonde, yes, but it's definitely tall. Definitely tall. I don't know if people have varying. You can see people have varying descriptions on if that's blonde or if it's brown. I think it's brown. Other people think it's blonde. In the summers when it gets hot, it gets lighter.
Yeah,
that's probably the closest to blonde that I get. But I think it's brown. I will accept blonde though. But yes, tall, awkward dude, white guy with glasses and brown hair. Come see him. Which, to be fair,
is about 60%.
That's going to be almost everybody at Sim Racing or Sim Gaming Expo. If the demographics of Sim Racing Expo are going to be anything like, the demographics for Sim Gaming Expo. Yeah. I mean, come on.
We are the demographics. It's all good. It's all good. Yep.
And if you're of anything else, you're of course more than welcome in this world. But boy, it sure self-selects for a lot of people like me.
It really does. It really does. There are many days where I'm very sad that I was born male and white. Just based on my interest groups. Like, yeah, I look like everyone else here. Oh no. I'm fitting the stereotype. This is bad.
Yeah, but one way or another, I will be at Chicago for Sim Gaming Expo, along with all these other exhibitors and special guests. And I just wanted to shout that out because this is super cool. It is shaping up to be huge. It's a big space, as Jorge talked about in the episode that he was in. And it looks like they won't be hurting for exhibitors, which I know was a big worry. So this is cool, and if this trend continues, which it looks like it will, from Serta's rumblings, it sounds like it might. This is going to continue. So this is cool. This is good. Sim Gaming Expo is off to a good start. Of course, we are rooting for their success. So
absolutely.
Very cool. Now we can talk about the one that we teased as we were going into this. We talked about iRacing's player numbers. That might be +1. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about dipping my toe into the iRacing world, and that is for a good reason. Sort of, you were about to say something.
Yeah, maybe wait until the NASCAR game is out and then decide.
Wait,
So
steal my thunder.
there's
I was waiting for him to finish.
Yeah. Okay. I can't have any victories on this podcast.
Nope. Birds of a brain cell and all that.
But yeah, okay. So I have been a longtime fan of racing, and that has a specific origin, and that origin is me sitting playing around with Hot Wheels and Legos at like 4 or 5 years old in the living room, and NASCAR comes on, and it's like 2003 or 2004 or so. I think I couldn't tell you exactly what the first one was, but pretty much from the first race that I ever saw, I was hooked, and it was a part of my life. And every single race that aired on network television in South Central United States, I was glued to the TV for ever since. And that was what started my love of racing and motorsports, and all of that started with the NASCAR Gen 4 Cup car. Yep. And that is precisely what has just been added to iRacing. And I'm thinking about jumping into iRacing, doing all the licensed stuff to try it out. And there's a couple of good reasons for that. Number one is NASCAR Racing 2003. On my old system, I never really bothered to set it up because I was always doing other things. But I was like, this is cool. If I want to like dive into oval racing, I can do NASCAR Racing 2003. It's really good for offline racing against the AI. It's got really, really good AI for oval racing. That really hasn't been matched by anything else. And then I build my new system with all the cool new SimiCube bits and the button box,
Chinese,
the pedals and all the good stuff, right? And I'm loading up a bunch of sims, getting all that set up with the different hardware, getting all that configured. I just like had a day where I just like go into one sim, configure everything, do a drive to make sure it all works, go into the next sim, go to the next sim, just getting all the software set up. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the opportunity. I'm going to install NASCAR Racing 2003. I'm really excited about this. As I'm installing this, I'm like, this is cool. This is awesome. I can't wait to do this. And it's playing the music. It's got the images, the 2003 cars. I'm like, whoa, what a throwback. I love this. And I get into it, and it gets time to bind the inputs, and it cannot accept more than 3 accessories at a time. And it was not advanced enough to let you pick the 3.
Oh, that's such a shame.
And so it goes by device ID, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
On what gets picked, because it was always the same things every time, and so
it picks the top 3.
And so I was able to get my shifter to work.
Yeah.
I was able to get the button box for the steering wheel.
Yep.
To work. And I was able to get the pedals to work, but those were the 3.
But not the wheel. But not the wheelbase itself.
Yep, exactly. And there's no way to add it. And I was like, well, okay, I could just use the flappy paddles, right?
Yeah.
I can't change which 3 it is.
You need to unplug the shifter then. The shifter before you launch NASCAR.
But if you do that and you load it all with only those 3 things installed, I still couldn't get it to work.
Ah.
Like it wouldn't pick the 3. Like I'd have to
There's-
like go
That's
in
unfortunate.
and like make Windows forget that was ever plugged in.
There-
Every time I wanted to launch that. So it was just like, oh, this just can't happen. And I see sort of like thinking his hardest on this. I'm thinking, you know, if
did
you're,
you
if
did
you're
you
like,
did you
know,
Google
use-
because there are layers, translation layers for old sim racing products. So
So
yeah.
I tried using the virtual input stuff in SimHub, and I combined everything into like one VJoy input, and that will work for everything but the wheel because
Of course.
force feedback.
Because no force feedback. So could you combine everything else and have the wheelbase separate?
So
Because that's the logical next step
maybe.
on that.
That's
Is that as far as
the
you got?
maybe bit, because
Yeah.
I did that after I had configured all of my other sims, and so it's like, is this worth it?
Yeah.
You know, and I could do all of that only to find that, you know, oh well, okay, maybe it just doesn't work for a whole nother reason.
Yeah,
and
that's upsetting.
Yep, and as I searched on forums of people trying to get NASCAR Racing 2003 to work on a Simucube wheel, I was only finding failure stories. I did not find anybody in all the years of both of these products existing that had said, you know, oh yeah, this works great for me. Once I did this, this, and this, I wasn't able to do any of that, or wasn't able to find any of that. And so I was just like, man, that bones, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, okay, you know, that's unfortunate, but the NASCAR game's coming out, and you know, that's modern NASCAR. I'm not all that into the modern stock car, but at least it'll be cool, you know. That's fine. And then I see iRacing has released, I didn't see when they announced it. They announced it a while ago apparently, but they released the 2003 Cup car, NASCAR stock car, and that is the car from NASCAR Racing 2003. That is the car that you know, I fell in love with watching on TV. That's the car that got me into motorsports and like being a car guy at all. And so it's like, all right, I'm the guy to try this out. And so I am thinking about buying iRacing, getting an iRacing subscription, buying whatever content for the tracks that I need. I believe that this car is going to be included with your subscription. That's what I saw on the website.
So
I don't think you have to pay for the car
free?
separately.
Okay.
Free by iRacing standards, yeah.
Yeah.
And the only things that I will need would be, I think, an adequate safety rating for whatever thing that I would need, and like a C-class license, which is, and that's for oval racing, so a C-class oval license. So if I do like the super late modifieds or whatever it is, that's the intro class for oval racing, do a few races in that, get my ratings up, I will be able to drive this car against other people.
Hey, here's to 50,000 subscribers. The
Mm-hmm.
moment you start doing iRacing, people are gonna flock to the
yeah,
to the
right,
channel.
right, yeah, true. So I'm thinking
stream the races, mate. Stream your races.
I might just, and I'd be the guy to do it too, because I have been a NASCAR guy for literally over 20 years. I'm talking about, you know, since I was this size, you know, I've been a NASCAR racing guy. So
have you looked at the varying mods for the classic sims as yet? I assume that you've got the Asetek ones.
Yes. So I have done racing in Assetto Corsa and R Factor 2 for oval racing. The AI on both of those sucks eggs for oval racing. Like I said, I was mostly wanting NASCAR Racing 2003 for offline stuff. Yeah. Obviously, the iRacing stuff doesn't entirely fix that. I do know that they, on some things, are doing offline AI.
There is
I don't know
there is
what the
AI.
status is on
There
ovals.
is AI for a lot of tracks and cars, and
Mhm.
any new car that comes out has AI. What I
Okay.
don't know,
For ovals?
yes, for ovals too. What I don't
Okay.
know is, of course, the AI has to be also configured for the different tracks. So
Mhm.
I don't know if the NASCAR tracks that are going to be used in those series are going to be configured. I don't know. I while I follow what iRacing is doing, I don't memorize every track that the AI learns. But they are with every update, they bring 5 to 10 new tracks where the AI is able to drive. So they are
Mhm.
working very hard on that. Um, if not for any other reason, just to let people train offline, so to speak, offline.
Mhm.
Train not against other players, so that when they are on the track in with other players, they don't mess that up, as it's almost cliche, but for a reason that iRacing drivers do.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. Well,
I've been
looking
doing.
at it, just doing a quick Google search, which I
Yep.
think Ike has
was
done as
doing the
well. Yeah.
same.
Apparently there is AI on oval racing.
Yep.
Apparently it's pretty good.
Yep.
So,
It's about
yay.
as good as it's going to get. And to be entirely fair, I think that playing single player iRacing probably makes more sense for the sub than the average iRacer,
For the sub?
if that makes sense. Yeah, because obviously you
No,
have to
not
pay
at
the
all.
monthly
What do you mean?
subscription.
Oh, for the subscription. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you have to pay the monthly subscription to be able to drive the cars, right?
Mhm.
But if you're using the AI as well, I kind of don't have as much of a problem with that as I do with iRacers who are like, I like the online system. Because you're not going to get bad netcode and disconnects and lag pings and things like that like you get on iRacing with the
Fair.
AI. Because it's all got the best ping you could possibly want, i.e., it's yours, or it's the
Oh yeah,
server.
true.
On the
In
other
which
hand,
case, you're
you're missing one of the most mature online racing systems there are in sim racing. Like I love to
Well, it's
pile.
there if you want to
I
use it.
I
I
wouldn't
love
call
to
them
pile
mature,
bad
or I've heard
things
some of the
on.
voice chat.
I was talking about the code, not about the people.
I know, but I saw an opportunity.
Yeah, of course,
I
of
thought we were
course.
talking about.
I offered it to you on a
Ike was
silver
wanting
platter.
drama. I think he got it.
I don't think I've said anything that hasn't been said before.
No, certainly not. No, this is definitely old stuff. Um okay, but yeah, that's that. So I'm not saying 100%, but I think probably 90%. I'm leaning towards trying it out. I don't know if
I
I'll
don't
stick with
blame
it,
you.
but I'm going to try it out.
So
So,
at the end, the dark side of the force got you.
Yes,
Come to
he's
the dark
officially a
side of the
dark sider
force. We
now.
have NASCAR.
but here's
Yes.
the thing. Here's the thing. I am there's two licenses that license paths that you can pursue, and you could pursue both, right? There's the oval racing path and the road course racing path. Because I have all the other sims that I think does that
Do
better,
road car better? Yeah, yeah.
I have no interest
can
in pursuing
just-
the road car path in iRacing.
Yeah, yeah. So if that is
I
just
say
your
this as a
NASCAR
primarily
sim,
road car guy.
yeah,
So I just want an oval racing sim.
you just
That's
want
what
over racing. And the thing
Yep.
is that even if this just tides you over until the other NASCAR game, because it is just if you treat the money that's spent as just gone, then there's nothing to stop you, especially if you only ever use the free content, and if the NASCAR is part of the free content.
Yeah, but the ovals won't. The tracks,
yeah, you
the
gotta get
tracks,
but
they might be on
fine.
weekly rotation.
but you have to
You
pay
need
for
to
them.
look at it, don't you? Really? No.
Okay.
They have a free rotation of tracks.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. But the way they've done it cleverly so that you end up paying
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. But again, if it's we'll see how it goes. Obviously, you'll be able to look into the pricing of things and things like that when you're.
We'll kick Cody so that he produces content so that you can also see how it goes.
Watch me crash.
I say, or we can just discuss this next time. Next time WromComms comes round, and see if you did it.
See if I did it. Absolutely, yeah. Hold me to it.
We can have the Cody section like we just had the Ike LMU section.
True. Okay. Speaking of Cody sections,
yeah, let's go.
I want to talk about so with all the news of them killing EAWRC.
Oh,
right. I know, but I gotta say, this couldn't have happened at a better time for me.
Okay.
Because I have, as of late, with my new rig, with me playing around, trying new things, installing new sims, the other old sim, new to me, that I installed alongside NASCAR Racing 2003 was Richard Burns Rally. And
yep,
holy moly, it earns its reputation, and I am not underestimating that. I'm not understating that in the slightest.
Yep.
Holy moly, it feels like I'm actually like ripping around on a dirt road. It's like, and I say that as a dude who has ripped around on a dirt road in his day. It feels like I'm ripping around on a dirt road. And it's so good, especially the like dirt and gravel sections. The tarmac stuff is fine. I think it's good. I think it is no worse than any modern sim, but the gravel stuff really blows everything out of the water for me. It's phenomenal.
And the graphics?
Not great.
Okay, cool. Okay,
yeah, not great.
No. It's just you're not that red pilled.
Especially the frickin' windshield. So I did the Rally Sim Fans install, which is I think the only way to do it. You know, these days. You know, if you're doing it any other way, you're doing it wrong. I think that's the way to do it. There is thankfully a way to turn off the windshield texture entirely. And I'm glad that they've done that, because the models that they use, even the models for newer cars, I don't understand where they're getting these from. The windshields are like opaque, or they're not opaque entirely, but they're translucent.
Yeah.
And they're translucent and gray, and you see. And it's not like oh yeah, there's a bunch of texture on it like Assetto Corsa's default cars have, where it's like, you know, oh yeah, it looks like a dirty windscreen. No. It's like there's a gray filter over everything. Like it's just a shmoo over the whole whole field of view.
And
I
like my windscreens to have 4 times FXAA.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. It's just like, imagine a gray translucent filter over everything. It doesn't even add really even like a texture to it.
Hey, but
so thankfully you can turn that off. But then it looks like you have no windshield. So yeah, no, it's on the graphic side, it definitely leaves a lot to be desired. But it ruins all the modern rally sims for me because of the physics and how great they are. And also, there's a ton of tracks people have made for this. I'm a fan of modding, right? I love modded cars, modded tracks, modded content. This is why, because after 20 years of people adding new stuff to this, both cars and tracks, there's probably over 1 million combinations of car and track configuration that you could do in Richard Burns Rally. There's tons and tons of stages.
There's also graphics mods.
There's also graphics mods. Yes, there are, that I haven't probably fully explored, but I have explored some.
Yes, make it pretty.
Yes, yeah, you can make it prettier, especially with regards to the environments. Like the environments, I didn't think were terrible in terms of graphics, but that is again on a lot of them. That's mostly modded tracks, right, within the Rally Sim Fans environment that they make. And so I think they have a standard of quality that they have that at least as good as the base game, usually better. Because I played some stuff that was in the base game, and it's like, oh, I can tell this was in the base game.
This is 2013 content.
Exactly. I mean, it's old as
2004 content.
4, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, big difference between 2013 and 2004 content.
20 years.
I heard
Assetto Corsa 2013 holds up in terms of, the tracks feel like I'm on a track. The 2004 Richard Burns Rally stuff, I feel like I'm in a digital environment from 2004. Definitely.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but it's like, man, now we need a modern Richard Burns Rally.
Yep.
We'll never get it.
No, but the thing is that even if they
are doing now the WRC games, they're gonna get it right this time.
Well, WRC Generations is widely acclaimed to be the best of the Nacon stuff, and on par. Large air quotes again for those who are just listening to us. It's on par apparently with Dirt Rally, or Dirt Rally 2, which is the thing that I hold to be probably the best all-round rally game. Like, RBR has its downsides. EAWRC has a lot of downsides. Dirt Rally 2 was the Goldilocks zone of rally sims. It has good enough graphics, it has good enough handling, it has good enough online, which, oh my goodness, that is apparently becoming really difficult to get nowadays. And it's
I don't understand how online for a rally is difficult. It's just a leaderboard, man. I don't get that.
Sometimes
it's a glorified leaderboard.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The best online for rallying was WRC 3, where if you joined a lobby, which you could just join a lobby like any other multiplayer game. You would have to line up at the start of the stage, and you could select the interval time down to 30 seconds. So if you had the fastest driver in the lobby starting at the back of the grid, they would have to overtake 4 cars in a rally stage.
Oh, wow. Nice.
How sick is that? Why would you ever not want that?
I'm thinking if you're the guy in front, you don't want that.
Oh, no, because all you do is you have the person the person who is last start first on the road, and then have the interval set to 30 seconds. Who needs balance of performance when you just have people in the way?
The guy who's like the fastest guy is not going to want that.
No. And so sandbagging becomes an issue, and you tell me another rally game that has sandbagging in. Nacon, if you're listening to us, if anyone's there, if you could give us that as an online mode, that will revolutionize the sim rallying ecosystem. And again, just steal Robert Burns' rally code. Richard.
Well, I mean, it's basically abandonware now, so there's nobody left to go after you if you do.
No one left to... So just take that, put it into a reasonable engine, like not Unreal 5. Give us an actual online system that isn't just leaderboards. Which, by the way, if you two want to join me in a WRC 3 game, I am game. I am so down because
that could be fun.
Well, thanks to Certa, I'm back on a direct drive. And I'm running it at the full 12 Newton meters and like 80% gain on all of the games. My arms are dislocating at the end of race sessions.
Did you say goodbye to the Camus? Was that it?
No, it's a new Camus. The old Camus died.
I want to talk about Project Motor Racing while he's
We
gone.
know it's so cool.
Let's nerd out before he
is gone.
before he
Let's
comes
get the nerds out.
back.
Yes. Oh my god.
So, where
Like
he
we
comes out
said-
and rains on the parade.
Exactly. It's like we said in the start, still rolling. It's all good. Like we said in the start, there are people who will not buy Project Motor Racing because it's an Ian Bell game, and they will never buy Ian Bell games after Project Cars 3 or whatever. And they've been betrayed too many times. We've had all of those arguments. We're here to be positive nerds about it. Go.
Okay, so classes that they have announced. They announced a list of classes. They're saying Hypercar, GT3. Okay, cool. That makes sense. That's all the
Yep.
modern stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Awesome. Le Mans Prototype, my
Yep.
boy.
Yes.
GT, which includes GTS, GT1, like 2000s
Yep.
GT1. Those cars. My boy.
Yep.
GTR3 is alive. In GT, that's basically GT2. It's the same thing.
Yep.
GTR2 is alive, or GTR3 is alive. 1970s sports cars. They have announced already the Lola T70. That's a new announcement, which is that was the workhorse. You know, everyone looks at like the
yes.
the Porsches and the Ford GT40s and
It's
you know,
the
all those, right?
The T70 is the thing that gave Lola the name.
Right.
Like when
yeah,
you
exactly.
think Lola, you don't think of the road cars. You think of the T70.
Yes, and the T70 is, I think, forgotten by too many sims. You know, like it.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember another sim where it's like first party content. You know, I'm having a hard time.
I think Project Cars
yeah.
had it.
Maybe, but I if it was, I never drove it.
No.
I don't remember.
Asetek Corsa mod, yeah.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah. So yeah, most people who know it. Hi, Serta. We're talking about. We're talking about Project Motor Racing now. And we're going through the class list and nerding out. But yeah, so the Lola T70 is so darn forgotten in modern sim racing, in any sim racing. But it was the workhorse. Like if you went to a random British sports car championship race back in the late 60s, even into a little bit the early 70s, you would have seen a grid with a ton of Lola T70s being campaigned by many a person. And
Lola per se was a
were-
big company at that point. Yeah.
and that's the car that made them a big company.
Yeah.
You know, they had made the T70 Mark I, which was a Can-Am car, and the Mark II, also a Can-Am car, and the T70 Mark III was then they got a FIA Group 6 homologated. I think it was Group 6, not Group 4. So then it could race in the World Sports Car Championship. It could race in the British Sports Car Championship. It raced in, I think some other like regional championships. But it's of course the big one was the World Sports Car Championship. And so to see that as first party content, because again, everyone knows the AC Legends mod for Assetto Corsa. It is honestly a little OP in that class, but that's how it was in real life. Like big old Ford V8 at the back.
It was the best
worked.
game ever. It was the best game ever. It was Project Cars 2 that had the T70 in.
Okay, that was it.
As well as the
So,
917 and the
also Ian Bell.
512S. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So cool. So awesome.
He may
I
have
love that
contacted the
Ian
same
Bell has the
people
same love
that
for
he
that.
contacted then.
It may well have, yeah, absolutely. No, but
Yeah,
the point
yeah,
was,
in
the
all
point was,
likelihood.
we've seen it in a sim, but not in recent memory. Was the point that we
Right,
were making,
yeah.
and that's the
And
rabbit hole that I went down.
Lola, I think Lola even did F1 chassis back in the day. Before they
They are
faltered.
very well known. Lola
Mhm.
and prototype chassis. They are
Yeah.
excellent chassis producers.
Where
But,
they died and then they were reopened.
Yes,
Sort of.
yeah. This was in the yeah.
But yeah, we're also getting, they say, GTE. So
Mhm.
of course, man after my own heart, right? And they say GTE decades. So I'm assuming this is, and so it was like GTE decade pack. So I think there was a decade of GTE. So maybe they're like everything in that decade.
Yeah. Give me a second.
They've not been
Google.
clear about what is in there. No.
No, but we're here for positivity and
Yes, we're
and
doing.
joy.
Yeah.
Group 5. They're announcing that Group 5 will be coming. So it's like if this was made for me, you know, because you got Le Mans prototype, hypercar, GT1, GTE.
Yep.
Group 5. It's like, this is the list of all my favorite motorsport classes in history. This is,
as you said
like,
in one of the last.
What's next? Gen 4 NASCAR? Like, come on.
As you said in one of the last podcasts, this is GTR3.
Yeah, but it's that, but like with all the community mods added to it of content that like made it all the other stuff too. You know?
I
like,
may have
the Brickyard Legends team. Like they did Group 5 in GTR2. You know, this is GTR3. You know, quote unquote, right? But then it's gonna have Group 5 as official content. Ah, yes, you were saying
the GTE decade that you're referring to. So, GTE is an ACO class that technically started the GTE tag 1999 and ended in 2023 with obviously the RSR and the 488 and all of those.
Okay, so that was as GT2.
Yes, exactly. So, there is a possibility that GT decade just refers to that block of GTE cars
in the 2010s.
I mean,
that's fine. It means we get 2 Ford GTs if I remember correctly.
All the cars,
because of the 2016.
The cars that they've been announcing have been 2003, 2004, right?
Yes, but they've also got the hypercars and GT3, which is an entirely modern class.
On the roadmap, they showed a like a roadmap of DLCs that they're going to come out with in the future. They have been just announcing, I feel like, every weird car under the sun that raced in the FIA GT and like classic IMSA and that sort of stuff. They announced actually a few days ago the Pimax LMP1 Roadster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
cool. Sick.
That's the big front engine Le Mans prototype from like 1999. Originally 1999.
The only evidence that Americans have always been able to produce cars.
Yes. I think I've gotten flack for the way I pronounce it. I can't remember if it's Pimax or Panos or Panos. I don't know how it's pronounced.
I say Panos, but it may be wrong.
So the guy was
Schnoz is what I'm calling it.
The guy was Don Panos.
Panos,
but
okay.
I knew all of them are relatively. I have sent a picture in podcast chat. I forgot that the F430s had had GT variants. I'm suddenly excited for PMR again. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't announced anything from Ferrari yet. Ferrari's a notoriously hard license to get.
Yes. Becoming easier though.
A little bit. But yeah, fingers crossed on that. They did get Audi because the Audi R8 LMP 900 is coming. We knew that they had a partnership with Audi for the Audi GT3 car that they had announced.
Yeah.
But yeah, Audi R8 LMP 900 dominated those years.
Which never won anything. 2002,
no,
2003, 2004, I think.
Yep, and then you had the R8, and then you had the R8, and then you had the R10 and the R10 TDI. And
what was it, 2002 Le Mans, they did first, second, and third, or something like that?
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. So, for those of you having trouble reading sarcasm, they won everything.
Yes.
Tom Christensen, Mr. Le Mans, pretty much most of his victories were behind the wheel of an Audi R8 or R10 or R15.
An Audi prototype.
Yes.
And this, if I remember correctly, was it in the early 2000s that this was in a field that was so large that they had to make Le Mans a prototype-only race? I think that was early 2000s.
That was I think you're thinking of the Porsche 956 and the later 962 in the 80s.
Yes.
They killed the GT division in the 80s.
Yes,
that was it. But yeah, no, we got plenty of GT cars in the 2000s,
there's a lot.
which we're going to be blessed with in this sim, just based on what they've announced. The Marcos Mentara LM600 is another big one.
I know that, yes.
If you don't know this car, look it up, and then realize that it has a 6.9 liter Chevy V8 under the hood.
This is starting to sound familiar again. Yes, that stupid thing.
I love it, and I love American car brand naming schemes, because 6.9 liter Chevrolet small block V8. Small block. 6.9 liter.
Also 6.9. Nice.
Well, the big block would be V12 or what?
Not even.
No, that's just referring to how big the crankshaft is.
Okay.
You're right,
yeah. I remember the Marcos.
But
Yeah, 95 to
I think
97
the
Le Mans,
one-
that's why.
Yeah. The one coming to Project Motor Racing is a later version. They had an earlier version that was, and it had a different body schema. Actually, no, I think this one is the earlier version.
Yeah.
The later version had the massive engine. This one has a so reasonable 5.8 liter V8.
So, yeah. So what we're hearing is that Project Motor Racing really needs to nail the audio engine. Because they've got the Lister Storm, they've got the Marcos, they've got all of the very best sounding GT cars from the very best sounding eras of GT cars.
And I love that they're starting with the weird shit.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's the correct answer. Absolutely
the
correct
Morgan
answer.
Aero 8.
Yeah. The time before turbos. By the way, I don't think that we got a picture of it at the time. There was a Morgan Aero 8 at Sim Formula Europe this year. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
Road car or race car?
It was the road car with the spoiler.
Okay, that's still cool. No.
It wasn't.
It's
it
cool
wasn't the race car.
But it would be especially cool if it was the race car.
Not on the Sim Formula Europe on the parallel thingy on the. Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't remember the name.
Classics. I think it's the Classics Expo. Yeah.
Euro International, whatever it was.
Because I was thinking I saw a BAC, then there was some. I think it was an F3, but I didn't remember any other car.
Yeah.
But of course, on the Interclassics,
there's a whole
Interclassics. It's called.
Yes, Interclassics. That's the name of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even if that's
go ahead.
No, it's to side note, but even if Sim Formula Europe is lacking, the car show that is attached to is just a sim racer's dream. It really is. And we made Cody very jealous this year with just some of the cars that we took pictures of.
There's me pawing at the screen trying to get over to Europe.
Yeah, I'm sure we could find you a job, buddy. It's fine.
I mean, starting with the open wheeler from 1918.
Oh yeah. So,
anyway,
back to Project Motor Racing for a second. Hypercar, GT3, LMP, GT, NGT, 70s sports cars, meaning like 70s prototype sports cars. GTE, Group 5. They're going to do at least 2 others. There will probably be more after that, but at least 2 others that they've said, because they were like, there will be 10 total by the time that all of this comes out. What other 2 do you want?
They don't have Group C.
None of them have been Opel. They don't have Group C. I'm gonna say, before we dive too heavily into this, I'm going to outlaw open wheelers, because they haven't announced any open wheelers.
No. This is going to be.
This might not be an open wheeler sim.
Yeah, this is going to be full GT. This is going to be full endurance racing. If they get driver swaps, this is the only thing that will be able to compete with LMU kind of thing.
Class ones.
Yeah. So again, it's a totally different audience as well. So
Class ones.
Class 1?
Yes. GTM Class 1?
Yeah, that's...
DTM, but also the Japanese, the GT.
Yeah, the GT 500.
500.
Yeah.
So
put them both, and I want to be able to drive the ones against the others, because that was what DTM was going for when it still was really Class 1 GTM, and they were in talks and they were working on, but then they got Mercedes bailed out, so we never got that. And I was rooting for a comparison between Class 1 DTMs and GT 500s.
So I'm going to say that would be cool. However, I don't think that's going to happen for a reason. Looking at all of these classes,
it's European focus,
and this is the world that I live in too. So I get this. All of these classes are classes that were eligible to race at Le Mans.
Yeah.
That is the common denominator between all of these classes. These are all Le Mans classes, which makes me think. They haven't announced much in terms of tracks. They've announced some tracks. They say 27 track layouts. They don't say 27 tracks. They say 27 track layouts.
Yeah.
But my thinking on this is, with all of this shaping up, I think they're gonna do Le Mans if they can get the license.
100%.
I know with LMU that's going to be kind of interesting because they'll be a competitor.
It's not an
but
exclusive
they have
license,
out
though,
to
is
like Reza, you know.
Yeah,
so
it's not an exclusive license.
No, definitely not.
And also,
because Project Cars and Project Cars 2 had Le Mans.
Yes.
Well, Le Mans Ultimate didn't exist back then.
So
I think
he's got But what I'm saying is, Iron Bell has context to these.
There is also
fair enough.
There is also, it might not be called Le Mans, it might be called Circuit de la South.
That's fair.
And that immediately gets you away from. It's the same as there's championships in Europe that run at Spa, but they can't run the 24 hours of Spa because that's copyrighted. So yeah, they call it Stavolo, or they real life races that go there, or real life races that go there will have the 25 hours of Spa, the 23 hours of Spa, So there are means and ways around it. I would be floored if Le Mans wasn't there. I would be floored if Spa, Barcelona, and Sepang, some of the old, the classic GT, ALMS, ELMS circuits weren't there.
I mean, it's the same. How many sims have the Côte d'Azur circuit?
Yes,
because they cannot call it Monaco.
Yeah, fair.
It was Gran Turismo for the longest time. I think they still are Côte d'Azur as well. Anyway, no, I'll say the only thing that I can see missing from that list is Group C. At the moment.
Yep. Group C would be good.
I'm trying to think of who else.
I have my eye on the Group 4 cars. I think that would be a good combination with Group 5. I would want to do 70s Group 4 cars. So like your Porsche 911 Carrera RSR, Chevy Corvette, the Pantera. So okay. Oh, here's another thing. We were talking about the pronunciation of Panos, right?
Yeah.
I have learned that my pronunciation of De Tomaso has been incorrect for 20 years.
Okay.
Because I was watching Doug DeMuro, and he reviewed the De Tomaso Pantera. And he pronounced it, I'm going to assume the correct way, because I looked this up and I heard other people pronouncing it this way.
Okay.
De Tomaso.
But Tomaso sounds...
But isn't it... it sounds Italian, but I think it's an American company.
It is Italian. So the guy was of Italian origin, from Argentina. I think he was born in Argentina and lived in America. So
Alejandro de Tomaso.
Yeah.
And if you want to pronounce it completely Argentinian, Alejandro de Tomaso.
Oh yeah. De Tomaso. Yeah. So, GT Legends was where I first saw that typed out. and I was like, oh, Datomaso as like a 5-year-old, so I'm gonna have a hard time, or probably a 6-year-old. I'm gonna have a hard time getting used to that change. Yeah, so my bad if I've ever pronounced that and you're like, oh, I cringe at your pronunciation of that. Yeah, can't say I'm gonna get it right all the time, but I'll try. But yeah, the Pantera, the Porsche 911 Carrera, the Corvette. I could pull up Assetto Corsa and tell you more, because I have all of them that ran in the in the Group 4 class in the 70s. But yeah, that's the one that I would want. Have Group 5 and then have Group 4.
What was Group
down
4?
Underneath that.
What was one of the cars in Group 4?
Oh, I was saying that, like the Porsche 911 Carrera RSR from the 70s.
Yeah.
The C3 Chevrolet Corvette.
Yes.
There were some leftover C2 Corvettes that were also done in that class, but I have now Assetto Corsa pulled up. I have everything tagged, which is tremendously convenient.
There is.
But yeah, if I type it out and give it a minute, it will.
There is a risk. There is a risk that we might see the return of the Peugeot 905.
A risk?
The Project 400 car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There you go. If you did Group C, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I have that in Assetto Corsa. It is as fun as you think it is.
Yep. Yep.
It's not the best mod. I'm not going to endorse the mod, but it is fun.
No, but all I want is my skirted XKR9. The Jaguar.
That's a good pick.
Beautiful car.
And I feel like Jaguar is probably hurting for money right now, so I'm sure they would say yes to a lot of things.
Interestingly,
just a tip, Ian Bell, if you're watching.
Yeah.
They might be
bring us
in more
Jaguars
to say yes to more things.
Yes, bring us Jaguars. Bring us good-looking Jaguars.
Yes, bring us Jaguars from back when Jaguar was cool. Although
I
say that they seem to be trying to kill their past. So
yes,
they won't.
They're killing that brief blip, which I'm down with. That's fine. Let's go. Go back to making F-types.
No. I think that they're trying to, with their rebrand and all that stuff, unless they've changed even more, and I haven't seen it back to where they were.
They've been trying to backtrack that ad.
Oh, okay, good.
As far as I know, they've been trying to get back. Exactly. But
if we're speaking about cars that drove at Le Mans, I vote for the Delta Wing.
Huh? Why?
No.
It's a crazy car.
Hang on. No, Cody, I can get you on board with this. I promise I can get you on board with this. Not the Delta Wing. Garage 56.
Well, yeah, okay, that checks out.
Let's bring every
class.
car that was there. Yeah. True.
Yes,
it is.
But
because that means we get
that adds much.
No, it does. It means we get the Delta Wing versus the Chevrolet.
But they're not equivalent cars at all. That's the thing.
They are.
They wouldn't go against each other.
Cody, they will do the same speed. Them. No, they will do a similar speed around Circuit de la Sarthe.
Okay. They'll be on very different fuel strategies, though. I'll tell you that much.
They'll be on very different fuel strategies. No, because so the Garage 56, the Chevrolet Camaro, if I remember correctly, was faster than the P2s, not as fast as the hypercars.
It was faster than the GTEs.
In a straight line.
It was straight line faster as the P2s.
Oh, that was it.
Yes.
Yeah. As fast as the P2s. The Delta Wing is was faster than the P2s in the straights, not quite as fast in the corners as the P2s. I think they're pretty close. Sense. But oh my goodness, could you imagine the two types of driver?
Yeah, you can just ram them off the road.
Exactly.
Which is what's happening.
True to life.
Well, so there's that.
But the thing is that no Chevrolet Camaro Garage 56 driver will ever drive a Delta Wing, and no Garage 56 Delta Wing driver would ever want to drive a Camaro. So you have the two sides of the sim racing spectrum. Like
I would,
that is
I would
that
try
is
both.
that is the no. You try both, but you prefer one. You would be given the choice of two. You'd try both and go, I don't like X because of Y reason.
Sure.
I think that you would end up with the gender binary of sim racers. Are you a Chevrolet or a Delta Wing?
Okay, I have pulled up my list, and it's a small list, Group 4, but like between these 4 cars, you got like pretty much the whole class covered if you wanted to like do a lot of historical recreation. So the De Tomaso Pantera Group 4, that's going to take some getting used to. The Corvette C3 Group 4, especially the ZL1 car that they raced at like Le Mans and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
The Porsche 911 Carrera RSR and its variant, I'm going to call it a variant, the Porsche 934 Turbo RSR. Same chassis. It's the same car. Sorry, Porsche bros. And the Ferrari 365 GTB4 Daytona.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that was Group.
I was forgetting.
Oh.
That was a 70s Group 4 car.
Oh.
And it raced. Boy, did it ever race. I have, I think, pretty much a complete skin pack. Le Mans 1971 through 1975 had a massive showing. Several of these showed up at IMSA at various points in the 70s, especially at Daytona and Sebring. And they raced all over the World Sports Car Championship. So plenty of Ferrari 365s raced. So Corvette, De Tomaso Pantera, Ferrari 365 GTB. I used my middle finger for a reason on the Ferrari one. And Porsche 911. All of those against each other. Those 4 cars, you have basically 80-90% of the class.
Yeah.
And so like it wouldn't be super difficult. The most difficult part about making all of that, especially because there's a lot of surviving examples of these. Hardest part about that would be getting the Ferrari license.
Yeah.
Like
But my goodness, there's a lot of there's a lot of potential in what we have been shown. And I mean, what are we up to in LMU? I think it's 11 tracks with all the DLC, which comes out £20 shy. Once you've bought the game and the season pass for 2024, you've got Hypercar P2, GTE, GT3, 4 classes, and 11 tracks with a couple more layouts. Project Motor Race isn't looking like a bad deal at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of which, $90 for the full release. With the release
steep.
DLC included. And then there's 7 content DLCs. It's gonna be steep.
So, but the $90 is with the
release
season
DLC.
pass,
with
right?
the DLC. Yeah. If you
no, wait.
Is it the season pass
No,
or is it the release DLC?
Let me check because I thought it was with the season pass, but give me a sec.
Well, while they talk about that, or while he looks that up, on top of all of this goodness, they have promised mod support.
I know.
Yeah. So
buddy.
the year one bundle is the one that costs $90, and it's with year one season pass, 4 packs, 1 expansion.
Okay,
That's quite cool.
Cool.
That's
So
quite
that's
without the season
that's
pass,
not bad.
Without the season pass is $60 or euro.
That's very good. That's very good.
Especially like you compare that to like Reza, right? The cost of those things, like that was also like seen as a good deal. This seems around on par with that.
Yep.
You know,
I mean, Ian Bell and the boss from Reza, whose name escapes me right now, are good friends. So.
Yes.
And side note, this is a marketing piece, but it it does really go to show like how serious they're taking this sim. They did a little mini documentary.
Yes.
Project Motor Racing did.
It's very
on
good.
Their,
It's very good.
yeah, on their YouTube channel, where they went and recorded the sounds for the Lister Storm on track during an actual track day, and they talked about how like as they're driving it around, they're also comparing, like they've got a sim rig set up in the paddock, and they'll go out on track, come back, drive the sim, and then go back out, drive the car around the track, come back in, and compare and contrast like how it's feeling to actually drive the car versus how it's feeling to drive in the sim. They're taking notes. They're sending those to their developments. It's as hands-on as I have ever seen.
They're not sending those to the developers. They had the developers on track.
Yeah, they were there. They were there.
Exactly.
But they were making notes for the developers. They even took, oh my god, they took one of the poor developers out in the car on a track day, and this poor guy, I admire his bravery to go out in a Lister Storm that was outfitted with a second seat. I think it was the Lister Storm they took him out in, but they took him out. Their test driver, who is some big name that I regrettably cannot remember.
The first
he's a household
isn't
name.
it?
I think so.
It's the same because he was already in Project Cars 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's quite a few
anyways,
real
they took
drivers
this guy
involved.
out and like he was like this the whole time. Amazing content.
And by the way, it's coming for consoles too. So at least that's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a significant step as well. I mean, like we've seen, because obviously we've seen Assetto Corsa Competizione and what they've tried to do. We have a hope and a prayer of LMU coming to consoles. Again, this is in the same vein as self-hosted servers. It's in the same vein as self-hosted servers. The transition over to console is notoriously tough. I would be extremely impressed if they brought modding support to consoles as well. But
I
just having...
don't think that's going to be promised.
This would be a very...
Do the what are they called? What is the other product from Giants?
Farming Simulator.
Exactly. Do the farming simulators on consoles support mods?
Not sure. I can ask the question.
Support mods?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Massively.
Okay. I did not know. I have them for free, I think, on Epic, so I should try those out. I've been in an actual tractor a few times. I've actually, tilled the field, but I have not played Farming Sim.
They've been publishing mods for over 3 years.
Okay, so that would be Farm Sim 2021.
But for console?
No, for FS22. Sorry, this is on console.
Okay, 2020.
It looks as though. Yes, it looks as though the console testing is separate from PC testing, and it might fail there. So it looks as though Farming Sim devs are testing PC mods for console compatibility. So that sounds to me like there's mods on console.
That's cool. Okay.
But in any case, already publishing it on PC and consoles is gonna be a big number for
massive step forward. Yeah.
For Ian Bell.
It's gonna be mighty.
PC2 never reached consoles, right?
No, it was on console.
Really?
Yeah, I had it on console.
Yeah.
Okay.
Project Cars 1 was on console. It didn't run very well, but it was on console.
No, it didn't. I remember. Actually, no, it was Project Cars 2. I got Project Cars 2 actually as a gift from my girlfriend, who's over there, and Yeah, and it was at the same time that I got my T300 RS, and we set it up. I was at parental house. We set it up on like a TV tray, and just wired it to it, and turned the force feedback down. Put in Project Cars 2 on the TV.
Yep.
And then just had people come in and try it out, like people from the family.
What is an FOV calculator?
Right? Yeah. No, it was definitely just like, hey, let's just screw around, you know.
Yep. That was the actual goal.
The FOV police just are at your door.
I am the FOV police now. It's really bad.
We loaded up. I mean, I'm there with you. We loaded up IndyCar at, IndyCar at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think it was.
Yeah.
And when we crashed, all the wheels disappeared.
Yep.
Yay!
Yep. Like not like flew off the car. I mean like every car, even ones that were still going around the track, all the wheels disappeared.
I miss Project Cars 2 bugs. They were always the best.
No, I don't.
I don't
miss it, but boy,
I don't miss the floating cars. I don't miss the floating cars, but I don't think there's another Project Cars 2 bug or issue that wasn't in the very least funny.
Yeah. And my favorite bit was when you reset, all the wheels were still gone.
Yeah. They never came back. They were always under the ground. They just went. Yes. Yep.
And the cars would drive like normal, but just the wheels were gone.
We're living in the future, Marty.
Oh man.
Where we're going, we don't need wheels.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, I have a question of the month for you guys. What's our question of the month going to be?
Didn't you already put the question of the month?
You know what? That's actually a good one because all right, we've taken Group C and Group 4. Let's get weird with it. What else? Of Le Mans racing classes throughout all of history, what would you want to see in Project Motor Racing?
Yep.
Feel free to get weird with it. I'm thinking about pre-war stuff.
Absolutely.
So
no, just
feel free
anything.
to get weird with it.
Well, the original E-Type took part.
Mm-hmm.
The original Jaguar E-Type took part. Now that's a car that I would like to see.
60s Group 3. Yeah, that would be a cool one. And that's a massive, very diverse class right there.
Yeah, it would be a
Think
lot
of everything
of work.
that races at Goodwood.
Yeah, exactly.
In those. Yeah, that's those.
It would be a lot of work.
Oh yeah. But anyways, on that note, drop those answers down in the comments of this video, and we will read them out for the next time.
I was going to say,
if we get them, do we have the ones from the last time?
Oh,
while he pulls that up, I am going to say thank you very much to our patrons over at www.patreon.com/WromWrom for their support and their ideas, and also to our members for your support here on YouTube. If you are a patron or member of at least the Formula Ford or Bronze level, you will be able to hear us record this podcast, this one right here, this one, warts and all, and you'll be able to react and ask questions in our chat live during the podcast. Yes, that's right. You can interrupt us.
Or even more than we interrupt ourselves.
Right. As if we needed any help. All the more reason to become a patron.
No responses to last week's question. However, Serta did not post it in a pinned comment, so that's probably the reason why there's no responses. But what I will say, absolute shout out to Birdiny Step 4224. That pronunciation is probably way off. I'm very sorry.
Tommaso.
But he said, hey, could be worse, yes. Best of luck. Best of luck at the Expo. They're 80 years old, so it would be tough living down in Con. C-O-N-N.
Connecticut.
C-O-N-N?
Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. Connecticut.
Yeah. Do great coverage so I can watch. We will do our best, and thank you very much for being a Vrommie.
I will do my best.
80 years old. 80 years
We-
old and
we-
still interested in racing
and been
as well.
following us
We admire
since
that.
for
We love that.
years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember
absolutely.
having conversations with that user years ago. So yeah.
Well, awesome. We love you.
Yes.
And we want to say thank you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Do all that good stuff. Hit like, even. And until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.
Bye.
Bye-bye.